Lovely Strong Hearts, welcome to another Strong Heart Awakening episode. I'm super excited today for a special guest we have on here. First things first, my name is Jenny White. I'm the founder and creator of 𝗖𝗟𝗢𝗦𝗡𝗥. I'm also a psychological therapist and relationship coach. I help you with relationships, as I do, but we are talking about other topics on Strong Heart Awakening too, and everything is a relationship. And with me today is my dear friend, Filip van Houte, business coach and also rebel with a cause. So let me introduce you very, very quickly. So Filip shows online coaches and consultants how to consistently enroll clients into their 3 to 10K offers to get those 10K plus month, which is absolutely possible. And you do this by helping your clients build a magnetic brand, create a life-changing high-ticket offer, develop unstoppable sales call conviction. And you are on a mission to create rebels with a cause and who value personal responsibility, speaking their truth, making an impact. And as a strong defender of freedom of speech and open debate, you invite expert on your Rants About Humanity podcast, which is, by the way, absolutely amazing, to passionately speak about important topics that don't get enough attention. These are always deep, meaningful conversations without filter and censorship. And I absolutely appreciate you to be on a broadcast with me today. Today's topic, very broad because it's important. Please stay on here. Even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, why we should give entrepreneurship a go. This will be a topic on fire because it's so much to talk about. It will blow your mind. Share this broadcast up, but I pass over to you. The stage is for you. Thank you for joining, Phil.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I'm a thought provocateur. I love to provoke thoughts. I think that's my mission, and I help people look at things differently, even though they might not agree, but at least they understand. And that's the mission I have with my podcast. I want to create rebels with a cause because I think now more than ever in these crazy times, I think it's more than ever that you have people who speak their truth, help people see things differently, undo the brainwashing, and help people step in their power instead of keeping them powerless and not aware of themselves and not taking responsibility. So to jump to the topic of entrepreneurship, what is the basis of entrepreneurship? Taking responsibility. It starts with the personal responsibility, and then you become aware, and then there's some shame because you realize I could have done things differently, but there's also liberation. I can't do things differently. So you have that dance between shame and openness, which is the most life-defining moment ever in the relationships with shadows. Any part in life, there's like this liberation, like, oh, I should have done this. Oh, I can still change it. So that's what I think most entrepreneurs have, this responsibility to be responsible for their actions, their choices. It's not easy always, but you have that ownership of your life and your business. So for me, personal responsibility is the beginning of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more because it's about responsibility. If you think about the past year, if you think about that, things can change like that. All of a sudden, I have friends who had a really thriving business, but not online because they are like hairdressers, beauticians, they have bars, restaurants. I live here, in a tourist town that is very frequently visited. And all of a sudden, they went from thriving to just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And of course, how do we take on responsibility with that? I mean, you become a business coach. You made that decision by yourself, Phil. I love your story. Maybe you can also quickly share what made you actually a business coach. When did you decide to walk the path of entrepreneurship?
Well, then we have to go to the education system and childhood, which is an obedience factory to help people not think for themselves. So my audience are the freaks, the weirdos, the outcasts, the outsiders, the people who've been told, sit down, shut up, sit still. Why are you asking that? Do as I'm told, because I tell you so. All those great artists, thinkers, difference makers, those people, they've been dragged on their knees through the education system, beaten into conformity, because they couldn't express themselves with their truth and a genuine expression. So I had the same thing, and I know a lot of people had this. So for me, hey, I'm provoked thought, so you don't have to agree with what I say, but I say higher education is a way to buy time to figure out what you really want to do in life. So most people who go outside of education, they have no idea who they are, what their talents are. They don't give basic skills about relationships, overcoming depression, how to discover your talents, how to save money, all those essential skills you don't know at all. You're just being sent into the wilderness. So a lot of people in their 20s, they're like, I don't have experience, so I can't get a job. And, I don't have a job, so I can't get experience. So they just take the first job that they want. It's not aligned with what they want. They don't know who they are. They just take on experience. And you know what, with those rebels, they get burned out at the end of their 20s or beginning of their 30s, because they were building up repetitions and experience in something that is not natural to them. They have a gift, they have a passion, they have an expression. I've been through it myself. Oh, it makes money. Oh, but you shouldn't complain, because all these excuses of just postponing a future that never seems to come. Well, I had the same thing, saving money, but in the end, the best life is a life living on your terms. So that's when I quit my job, moved to a different country, went for it. It's not easy, but I'm happy with the choice. But that's often the journey of those rebels with a cause. Like, they are not on their mission. They don't put their banner in the ground and people tell them what to do. But inside they feel, this is not me. This is not what I meant to do. This is not honing my message. And a lot of people, they cling to the familiar, not want to take responsibility, want to be told what to do. Not my kind of people. Because it's uncomfortable to be in charge of your life. Because you own your life and your decision. Most people are not like that, but I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to rebels with a cause, entrepreneurs, people who want to be aligned with their path and feel like, yes, I'm living my life based on my decisions and what I think is right, with trying to benefit society and making an impact, not just about making money, but not just being a slave, like most of the things is like, listen to your mom, because then you will get a good school. Listen to the school, because then you will get a good job. Listen to a good job, because then you will get a good pension. Listen and follow and go to your nursing home, because then you will die peacefully. Constantly postponing, like actually living your life and choosing something. And Holly, whatever, had like a book about the top 5 regrets of the dying. And the number one is like, I should have lived a life on my terms instead of what other people told me. Number one, besides like spending more time with friends, etc., and taking care of your health. So number one, a life of regrets is one of the most disappointing life ever. And people are following that golden calf of comfort, predictability, familiarity. But at the end of your life, that won't be the things that you remember. So that's maybe not entirely my story, like why I did it, but that's a bit like the evolution that I see in people, and I want to help those people that window of opportunity at the end of their 20s, beginning of their 30s, when they feel like the universe is showing me that I'm not aligned with my mission, with my message. And then I want to help them be location independent, state independent, work for themselves and wake people up, think differently, because the grasp, the tentacles of censorship, of political correctness, of shutting down people is increasingly narrower and narrower. So I want to help people use that window to create their own vistas into perception, instead of being clung to the TV screen that keep them scared, dependent, and consume and obedient.
Absolutely, totally agree. I mean, that's what I stand for too. That I stand for that. And strong arts, that too. If you're in my group, I'm teaching standards and boundaries and not being scared to really look at what you want. And what I'm always saying is, it's very important what you surround yourself with. What are you digesting through your ears, your eyes, and who are you with who you are with? That's very important.
You're not what you feed your mouth, you're what we feed your senses. So be very mindful of what you feed your senses about. The 6 things that people should invest in: focus, time, energy, skills, money, and network. Focus, time, energy, skills, money, and network. And if you can use that wisely, then you can build up a future that you love. But if you're going to give away your energy, your focus, your time to useless, mindless crap, if you're going to surround yourself with people who keep you down and don't lift you up, if you're going to waste your money instead of investing, and if you're not developing skills to survive in the future, then it's up on you why you're not at the place where you want to be, because that's the 6 things where you should dedicate investments towards.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's often, don't you think, Phil, often we are actually investing into just avoiding to feel what's going on. We're just like, don't want to see it. We don't want to see what's going on. And then we buy any crap that makes us forget that. And we are then deeper down into the rabbit hole that is really, we are like, we are in the matrix.
Yeah.
And then we are just literally not living a life. We wonder why we are depressed and anxious and why we don't live a life on our terms. And like you said, it's not comfortable. Entrepreneurship is probably, hey, and I'm in this since 2017, entrepreneurship, people tell you you are nuts. Why are you not staying in your job? Why are you so disobedient? Why are you taking the risk? Are you insane? You will lose friends, definitely. And they are not your friends, by the way. They're not your friends, by the way. But it's worth it. And you will connect with so many more people you can resonate with, right?
Yeah, especially now you will see that some people are awake, and it's mostly people who've taken responsibility in their life. Doesn't have to be entrepreneurs, but they've taken responsibility, and you will have deeper, more meaningful connections with maybe fewer people. But in the end, like when people live according to your values and you sync with them, the relationships are more meaningful. I mean, I'm not going to yell to the wind to like people who don't want to listen, but you know, it stays like superficial. Sometimes you keep on having discussion like, remember that margarita that we drank at Marbella 5 years, and you know, you just talk about the past because they don't evolve anymore, and you just cling to the past and they expect you to be the same version as 10 years ago. No, I stopped smoking weed every day. I stopped like video gaming every day. I worked on myself, and most people are like, whoa, is that possible? Yeah, that's possible when you make different choices, you invest in things, and that, you know, accrues over time. That's a compound effect. Do you see those effects immediately? No, but when you go in that direction, you know, you meet more like-minded travelers on your path. And in the beginning, yeah, it's lonely. You leave your tribe, and then you choose for a better future. You need to think people around you would support you, but it's just an uncomfortable mirror of that possible change that they see reflected in you. And the easiest way to deal with that cognitive dissonance is to say like, oh, you're weird, you changed, etc., than actually being inspired by what you do.
Plus, I mean, you will trigger off a lot of FOMO also on other people. It's like, what, you're doing this and you get successful? How can you do this, right? And then people compare themselves with you. They enter a competition indirectly with you. Now you are a comparison, and often people drag you down because they don't want that you are winning, that you are like unplugging from the matrix and then all of a sudden creating what you want. You're powerful beyond anything.
Well, I love truth, you know, like if I see a rabbit hole, I don't have to go down the rabbit hole, but I'm going to have that enlightenment torch in myself, and I'm going to go in the entrance of that rabbit hole at least, and I'm going to see what's there. I'm not going to act like it's not there, but a lot of people are like, listen, with everything that's going on right now, which is completely batshit crazy, disproportionate on any level you look at it, some people, you show them a little bit of a different perspective, they don't even want to look at it. People have been condoning these measures and everything that's going on, and some even haven't spent 1 hour looking at some alternative way to look at it. They've just been following, clinging to that mainstream media, what they've been told, and you don't have to accept it or agree with it, but not even looking at other things than the narrow bandwidth of acceptable opinion on the TV screen, while it's so clear that they only focus on the most catastrophic stories and Armageddon and whatever. I don't understand why people not even want to throw some light on just looking at some other perspectives. For me, that's crazy. I'd rather have the uncomfortable truth and then own it than try to live in this matrix, in this fantasy that keeps them, you know, in a prison, but they decorate it nicely. So, oh, it's such a nicely decorated prison here. It's nice here, right? It's like, it's still a prison. You live in a prison, okay? But that's just me, you know, like, yeah. I've always been a rebel that way.
No, yeah, I totally understand it. I'm grateful. I mean, we don't know each other for such a long time, but you know, when you meet somebody who's on the same wavelength and you think, oh gosh, I'm not the only one. And Strong Hearts, you are not the only one who thinks that way. Have a look. Hi, Becky. Thank you for joining. Amanda, great. Raven, great for joining. Please feel free to share this app. Do me a favor, share this app because this will be on fire. Literally, I'm so excited to
It's the same thing that we had this talk on my podcast about looking at infidelity. And that's also another tenet of what I talk about. If it involves people, it's about mutual responsibility. And I don't get why people get pissed when you can also take personal responsibility. It's under your control. You can change it. Shouldn't you be happy? Oh, I can change it myself. No, people would rather say white supremacy. All men are pigs. It's all their fault. It's all Hamas. It's all Israel. I'm like, yes, but that is under other people, their control. Don't you think it's empowering that I give you some tools that you can change it, your community can change it, can make it better, and you're resentful that I'm blaming you? No, it's mutual. It's something that I don't understand. I think it's one of the biggest tools ever that you or your community can take, not solve, but you can also take responsibility. Isn't that empowering instead of like waiting until someone else fixes it for you?
It's victimhood. We are addicted to feeling pain. We can actually be addicted to feel pain. People are addicted and attach themselves to anxiety, pain, victimhood, because it seems to be easier. We pay a very high price for that. You pay a high price for it. Like you mentioned, and I had a look at these studies too. Regret, if you are 99, or if you even get to 99, I don't know, maybe you over 100. Now they're talking about implementing a half robot, half. It's going really crazy. If you're on your deathbed and you have not taken any risks and thought, sod it, I go for it, I do this. Like, I mean, I'm a relationship coach. I always say, you ask that guy out, you ask that girl out, you go for it, you go for the job you want, you go for the body you want, you go for the life you want, you just do it. It's uncomfortable, but you know what's uncomfortable? Lying on your deathbed, having flashbacks that are boring on the safe side. It's not that you risk necessarily your life. People always think, yeah, but it's far easier to sit there somewhere in an office being totally underpaid. The way we are going now is that you will have to have at least 2 to 3 jobs, and then you have no life. You become a slave.
Listen, rebels with a cause, change makers, thought leaders, checking out this. If you have a job, or if you're sitting somewhere in this period and you think these people are fucking idiots and they don't know what they're doing and they're not aware of themselves, you're probably right. There's a very big chance you are right. Most people are sheep. They're brainwashed by the education system and they don't know what they're doing and they're just following commands. So if you were a little boy like me and you were thinking, these people are stupid, these people don't think about their decisions, they're just following orders, you know what? You were mostly right. These people are really stupid. I mean, I'm just telling it as it is. I have no empathy anymore for these people who are not willing to be aware, look at things differently, and not take ownership of their life. I'm not going to, I mean, attacking them verbally a bit now, but I'm not going to focus on them. These people are not aware at all. They go through life like automatons, doing what they're told, following the herd of the media, being obedient sheep, looking at the media, the politicians, and the prostitutes. And they just do what they're told and that's it. Well, if you think like, I want to own my life and not constantly having to deal with that stupidity and ignorance, I think there's no better time to become an entrepreneur or online coach and consultant about what I do to use this technology to an advantage, to create your own ecosystem of good people, your own clients, your own program, waking up people, etc. Because that window is getting closer and closer with all the censorship going out there. But yeah, the future is more and more rules, more and more censorship, more and more being on probation with whatever you could do. And the state is going to tell you the nanny state, right? Nanny, because they treat you like a baby. That's why it's the nanny state. Infantilization of people. What does an infant doesn't have? Personal responsibility. Yeah. That is what is infantilization. And they don't like people who take personal responsibility to speak their truth. That's also what they tell babies. Why? Because I tell you to. Because they think the person has nothing to say. So speaking your truth, taking personal responsibility, stop being a baby, stop sucking on the tit of the nanny state.
It's really interesting.
I'm directing my language. I'm just telling it like it is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I like it. Yes, but it's true. People need to wake up. Have a look. Hi, David. Thank you for joining. Good day, my dear friend. Thank you for joining. So it's really important that we understand it's not comfortable to not evolve and grow, because that's what we do. Yeah. You go up to school. I know that too. You go to school. I was great at school, but I was bored after a while because like, great, and now what? So what do I do with all these great grades? What do I do? Went into a job I hated to please my mom. Done extremely well there in something I absolutely hated. Gave me only lots of tummy ulcers.
I got the postcard, Mom.
Like, yes, they're great. And then you rock the boat. And it's never too late too. So please don't think you are now in your 30s or 40s. You can't do it. It's all said. You're not allowed to change. That's not true. It's not. That's another misconception, that we stop growing because we are now old. That's not.
That's also a bit of difference, right? My parents grew up in a time where their job was steady and they could envision, I'm going to do this for 20 or 30 years. Now, with everything going on right now, you don't know what this future will be. There's a lot of uncertainty. So yes, that creates disadvantages, but that creates also advantages. Like in the past, you couldn't just study or get coaching or mentorship or programs or after your 9 to 5 or the weekend to educate yourself and train those skills. Now that's still there. Yes, you will sacrifice time, but yeah, sometimes you sacrifice something on the long run to benefit, in the short run to benefit on the long run. So there are some advantages with internet and what you can do in your free time that was never possible, because then you just had to degree, or go to school, and that was the only way to do it. And if you have a 9 to 5, yeah, maybe an evening class on certain days, but that's it.
I know and let's be honest, the baby boomers, and my parents were baby boomers, they got a pay rise because they stayed for a certain amount of time in the job.
Yeah.
So they got a pay rise for that. You didn't even have to produce anything. It's like, oh, thank you for showing up and sitting there and not being disobedient.
Why are you rewarded? I should be rewarded because I'm sitting in the chair for 5 years right now. And now I'm sitting here for 10 years, so it should be more. And now it's 15 years, so that's more chair sitting, okay? Like this kind of reasoning.
Absolutely. And they celebrated. It terrified me. I was working in a bank. People who meet me today, and you know that. Amanda, thank you for joining, by the way. You know me, Amanda. We met in Arizona. People who meet me today, they think, you have not been a banker. I have been a banker. But you can free yourself. You can free yourself. It's still an experience I had, which is great, right? I learned how to not do things and what it is when people are hungry of power, but give up their own power. They think they are powerful.
Only now see the chat, by the way. So hi, Raven. Hi, Amanda.
I'm just looking at you. So this is brilliant. And now, Amanda, please share it out. So good to see you. We need to connect anyway. So it's like really, really important. Really, really important that we talk about that. So you are not empowered. So if you are, and the funny thing is, when you are sitting, and I've done that, I was one of those people who would stand up in a team meeting and said, this is all, excuse me, bollocks.
It's bullshit.
Bollocks. They're bullshit.
It doesn't make any sense
and
at all.
They look at you like, oh my gosh, somebody's saying something. What's going on? And they don't even know how to deal with it. How do they deal with it? They call you in the office. Jenny, can you please come into the office? Okay. We don't want you to spread negativity. No, it's not negativity. You don't want to.
You know what I'm passionate about? I have a lot of personality background and a lot of personality research. And let's say, you know what happens a lot? I will tell it, like, I'm super passionate also about it. Let's say Amanda is a people person. She loves to work with people. But you know what the job is going to do? Because it's in the job description. Amanda has to type spreadsheets all the time because that's in the job description. They don't look at the person. What are you best good at? And you know why Amanda is procrastinating on those spreadsheets? Because she hates that shit. Because she doesn't like to do it. So instead of, let's say Amanda is super good at working with people and Ahmed is super good with working with spreadsheets, and the other person, Becky, is a super visionary. She loves to brainstorm and work in human resources. And then Becky is someone who loves to work in the background, work on the websites. Sync those people. They all have talents. I think it's complete bullshit. Mutual decision making. Everybody should decide about everything in the process. No, some people love starting things. They love initiating things, brainstorming, being a visionary. Other people like to finish things. Other people love to structure things, like let's map it out. Other people like to work with people, give presentations. Other people are like, yeah, guys, just tell me what to do and I will do it. All those people sing together, but all this one-sided conformity bullshit and not looking at the people and their talents, it annoys the crap out of me. One of the biggest vectors that you should do in school is you take a look at if those people like to work with people or with objects or systems. And then they should, based on that, make a career decision where the chances of them to work with people or objects, etc., is bigger. Some people, they work best independent. Some people work best in a team. No, you have to work in a team because look at how people find their job the most fulfilling. Sing them, make them work together. But it's such a conformity sausage. It annoys the crap out of me because everybody has a talent. Everybody can sync with each other, and work as a team. But the way how it's organized in school, in jobs, like it irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. If you give me a spreadsheet, I will definitely destroy it. I'm known
And
for
it's one of
that.
the most underestimated reasons why people get a burnout, or when people procrastinate. They procrastinate because it's not the things that they like to do. So you procrastinate, to the end of the day, you feel the stress, you get burned out, you don't feel fulfilled. Of course, you should do three things mostly, especially when you're scaling. One, what you're naturally good at. Two, what is a return on investment? Can be money or energy, etc. And three, what you love to learn. All the rest you should cut out, and you should spend at least 60 to maybe 80% on those three things max. But that doesn't happen a lot in like jobs, you know. But yeah, I'm super passionate about this because it's just nonsense how the system is still created to create obedient factory workers in Prussia. You're from Germany. This is the education system to create obedient factory workers through the Prussian school system. So if you ask, why is the school system after 120 years still not changed? It's because it instills a certain mindset of people shutting up, killing the artists, killing the rebels with a cause, killing the freedom fighters, killing the radical thinkers, because that's dangerous to the system. That's dangerous to the status quo. So it's purposely done to squeeze every novelty, radical thought out of these poor children going through these conformity tubes that they call education.
And you create depression with that, suicide.
Yeah.
I remember way back, you know, you have to memorize things, which is like, doesn't make sense. To memorize 3 years of banking college, I was like, I didn't care. I went to the test. I was like, I give my best. If my best is just like, I'm just pushing through, that's okay. There were people, honestly, there were one person who didn't come in. They had such a high anxiety attack of failing because they are not good at memorizing that they nearly wanted to jump out of the window. I remember that. That was nuts.
And also
and
what Amanda is saying, I was hushed so much as a child because I questioned everything. What does this cause? This causes that people think like how I think, what I do, what I found interesting is not okay. There's something wrong with me. This creates the idea, I am a freak, I am wrong. What I found interesting and curious, what is me, is not condoned, which creates a lot of psychological issues because all the people who ask questions, I mean, stop moving, stop sitting still. And if I could go back, like, give a more interesting class, involve me more. It's boring as hell. No wonder that I keep on moving, because I might as well just read the book, come back, and then study it, because this is boring as crap.
Yeah, it's like we learn unnecessary stuff. I was not good in geography. I was really crap.
You have to be good in everything, right? Like let's say somebody's super good at like physics and chemistry, but they're not good at like history. Yeah, because you're super good at chemistry, but you also have to pass for everything, because that's how a job works.
Absolutely. It's how it works. You have to go through the pain, pressure, and threshold to actually build up that a mindset. That's what was told to us. Hey, and Germans are like hardcore on that. It's like, don't. This is history. History, I switched completely off. I got interested in like Greek mythology, and then the pyramids, and then you go also, and then they hit you anyway in Germany with the Second World War, and that is until you leave school.
Let me ask you the question. Was it really the topic, or was it more the teacher?
Both. The teacher was not very appealing.
But I mean, in general, like what made you have good grades? Was it the topic that was interesting, or was it the way how the topic was being taught?
It was like, I would always question. Oh, that's a good question. I would be the person who sits there until I understand the topic. I would be the annoying person who will ask you questions until I got it.
Why is this labeled as the annoying person? Why is someone who asks questions, isn't that like, oh, that's the interesting person? Because that person is interested, else she wouldn't ask questions. Why is this labeled as the annoying person? Why is this not the hero of the class?
You're not. It's interesting because you make their lives a misery, isn't it? All of a sudden they have to not only go with the structure of their lesson plan, right? They have to all of a sudden adjust. You can't just sit there, and I mean, they just slightly acknowledge that some people learn differently. Not everybody learns by reading. Not everybody learns visually. Not everybody. The majority, but it's really, really interesting. So it's, of course, if a teacher was really passionate and understanding and empathetic, you would listen more, definitely. but they got into trouble too. The best managers I worked for, they got into trouble that because they went outside of the system, they've been told they have to deliver. I had a fantastic, it was a woman, interesting. She was a great manager and they were hunting her down to the point that she was in tears in her office because she got the best results. She didn't go by the book. She was listening. She was actually saying, you're good in this, you are good in that, you're good in this, you go there, you go there. And she was questioning that.
Man,
so, that was crazy.
We should ask ourselves, what is education for? What's the purpose of education? To get good grades. Why you need good grades? To get a job. What kind of job? A job that pays well. And like your fulfillment and stuff and your passion and what you're meant to do, all not important. Yeah, we'll figure it out, later. Like, what kind of crap is this? The purpose of education should be helping people think for themselves, discover their talents, connect with other human beings, find fulfillment, find satisfaction, know how to be happy, know how to deal with adversity. All those things we're not teaching. What is the purpose of education? What kind of nonsense are we teaching these children right now? All these, time that we're sitting on these benches for hours, memorizing, indeed, like, just memorize it, follow the test, and then you get grades, and then forget it. Yeah, that's what you do at a job, right? Jenny goes to a bank. Hey, Jenny, here is my course about banking. Study this 3 weeks. Come back and do a test, and then we're going to hire you. Like, what kind of system is this? What kind of outdated system is this?
Crazy. I was more in the manager's office than anybody. It's crazy. Okay, have a look. Raven said, great topic. Math, not my strength. Do you know what? That was my strength. But math and languages.
But German, so.
Thank you very much. That's stereotypical, isn't it? No, I like the logic behind it, but it was like a riddle for me every time. Now let me have a look. Geometry, I was crap. I was not having it. I was crap at that. So Raven likes a topic which the lesson was being taught turned my attitude off from learning. Yeah, Raven, I know. It's like, it's not interesting. Why are we not learning certain skills? Why are we, languages, great. I think that's brilliant. Languages is brilliant because you can, if you're traveling, you should connect with different languages.
Curiosity is the basis of intelligence.
Yeah, so I always loved that. So I learned, in Germany, you learn when you are 10 years old, you start to learn English at school. And then when you are 13, you can choose another language if you want. And I've done French. Don't ask me anything. I know you probably speak French, aren't you? I haven't spoken French for
German
a long
also,
period. You speak German too. See, we should. That's great. See, but it's not. You're from Belgium. You are like talents. You speak like what, 3, 4 different languages? What is it?
5 or
5. Oh, see, I'm such an ignorant person, isn't it? Like,
well, body language is the most important language. So
yeah. Oh, I like it. Yeah, true. Body language is. So why are we not learning body language at school? That would be interesting. I'm fascinating. One of my tutors here in Cornwall, I love him to bits. He's NLP. And he talks about body language, how the mind works, how you can manipulate people. I have like talks with him. That's scary. He said, we are quite simple. That's another thing. We're quite simple. People can actually really find out how you will react in certain situations. They can manipulate yourself. That's what your job is doing too. They will tell you you're not good enough. So you, like we talked about that just a minute ago, isn't it? They give you then a job description. You have to do this and this, and everybody has to do the same, by the way, because that's easier. Because then the manager doesn't have to decide and look at you and treat you like an individual that you are. And it's why, we are getting manipulated. And then they
most
call
people
you
are
in for
raised to be
appraisal.
idiots. I gotta tell you like it is. Most people are raised to be idiots and slaves because that serves people who are in power. Like then they're easily to be used as like pawns, So that's just one thing. I'm not completely blaming people because they kind of are the end result of the whole education system and the false lies that they have been told, But in a way, dumb, stupid people, you might think like, oh, if only I was dumb and stupid. But for me, that never was an option. But yeah, that's the way how people are raised. Keep them dumb, give them the pills, treat the symptoms, not the cause. Help them consume to figure out underlying things and keep them busy and occupied so they're easy to manipulate. And then dangle a carrot of some fear. Oh, terrorists, now this. Oh, we're going to protect you. Oh, climate change. Oh, this. Oh, COVID, this. And then the fear, oh, there's a crisis. We will take care of you, child. Come, child. Vote for us, child. We will take care. Like the diffusion of responsibility, like they will take care of it. They will not take care of it. They will use your polarization and attention for their own personal gain. They will sell the fear. They will keep you stupid. They will keep you consuming. And that way, they can keep on shifting, everything. The worst thing that could happen for those in power, politicians and TV, is to solve problems. Because I just had a talk with my mom. Why are you looking at this fear device? Look at that news. 9 out of 10 things are negative. And not only negative, often the most dramatic way ever. You're always feeding your perception, your body with that negative view into the world. Why are you raping your senses that way? Why are you purposely clinging to that screen that keeps you hostage and feeds off your negative attention? Stop feeding it. It's not changing anything. And look at how many positive, constructive things there are. I think Groucho Marx said, like, I find TV very educational. Anytime it's put on, I go to a different room and read a book.
It is. Books are great. Books are great, but it's true. People get addicted to miss out the news story. It's like with soap operas, isn't it?
Yeah, that fascinates me. Like, why do you cling knowing that it won't bring you in a better state, but in a kind of way you still want a FOMO and figure out, like, how bad is it? Oh, it's bad, but a bit less bad. Oh, it's catastrophic today. Oh, now it's only disastrous. Why are you purposely feeding yourself that? I don't get it at all. Unplug yourself from the media, and that is a window into the world. Open the windows, go outside, work on yourself. Stop looking at that lie vision. Lie vision. Programs, programming yourself.
And it's like it has gone so nuts. I remember I was once sitting in an office. I'm not watching soap operas. I'm not that kind of girl. I like
Amanda, turn your cell phone, not your TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Amanda, I don't even remember the last time I turned my TV on. Amanda, absolutely. It's like, I don't have the time, to be very honest. I do research. I have to say, I had so many people coming to me because they liked a certain series, because there was a certain archetype of a man. So I had to look into it, but that's it. So what do you want to say?
Are you consuming it, or is it consuming you?
Exactly.
Ask yourself that question.
Soap operas, that's where I was. So I have colleagues of mine that come, we watched the soap opera. Did you watch it, Jenny? I can't believe this and this happened. I said, are you crazy? Why do you actually think? Because that's what they do. At the end of a soap opera.
Do you know what kind of my curious Phil now wonders? Why the hell do we call it a soap opera? What the hell does it have to do with soap? And what the hell does it have to do with an opera? It's not even an opera, and there's like almost no soap in it.
I don't know. We have to.
For brainwashing.
Yes. Brainwashing. That's what it does. It's brainwashing. That's soap opera. I don't know. That's probably the case. But they thought it's almost like it happened. It's an excitement. It's like what they do. They really concentrate all the bad things that can happen to you in a lifetime.
Yeah.
In one thing. One character goes through everything. Every single drama in life, and then they think they talk about it. They spend no time talking about it like it's their auntie or the neighbor next door. It's really interesting. It has gone so bananas. There was a case in Berlin, I remember, when some soap opera star went into a bakery, ordered something, and they said, we are not serving people like you, because they played a baddie in a soap opera. So crazy. That is how you get manipulated.
Well, there are people right now who think that there's a crisis going on, while when you just go outside, the birds are chirping, and you don't know a lot of people personally who died. If they died, they had underlying illnesses and were above 80, but they keep on telling, it's the worst thing ever, it's the worst thing ever, it's the worst. And you just go outside like, the birds are chirping, people are just walking, nothing abnormal. So I'm like, there's a bit of a difference between what I look on TV and how the world looks like right here. Because if it would be Armageddon happening, wouldn't I see it appearing in the streets and constantly hear stories about how bad it is? So I'm just looking at it like, yeah, there's something that is a little bit heavier than the flu, and that's it, you know. And then I turn on TV, it's Mad Max, it's the end of the world, oh my God. Like, and I'm like, whoa, that's big difference between how I perceive it and what I watch on TV, you know.
It's really interesting how we get manipulated, isn't it? It's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy. It's easy. And in between, we get like the worst thing you can have, by the way. Here's another thing, variable reward. This is how you get people hooked. I studied it.
A cliffhanger.
It's like,
is it the Indian variant? Or is it going to be the Mexican variant?
I don't know. They will not
find out tomorrow if it's going to be the Mexican or Zimbabwe variant. Stay tuned.
Hey, at least we Germans kept out of it this time. At least we Germans kept out of it.
I'm wondering how these variants come into the country. There must be this spy in his plane in India. I am going to UK with the variant, okay. And then they just book like a special plane to get that variant in like United Kingdom. And then they swim over the canal just to make sure that Indian variant gets in, you know. That's how they do it. And then in the canal, they're swimming, and then they see that Brazilian variant. Whoa, you're also a spy? Yeah, man, I'm trying to get in the UK, but it's a lockdown, but I'm going to get in, you know. And then that Indian variant and Brazilian variant, they just, you know, swim, and then they dig a hole under the ground to make sure that they can secretly enter the country, you know.
Do you know what I'm also worried about? That they call it after you know, after countries or regions.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So why are we doing that? Why are we not saying, okay, there's another whatever?
Yeah.
And why are we using then all of, because we create hate with it. We have over here now problems. We have a really massive Indian community here in the UK. So that causes problems. Why are we or Spanish flu, why do we have to call it Spanish flu? Why do we, because it stems from there. Why do we do this? Because that's how we create hate too, and division, right? It's sad. It's sad, but yeah, we are like coming back to entrepreneurship.
Yeah, no, yeah. Just wake up people. Like, it's just so much nonsense out there that, you know, you can be outraged about everything, but I just go back to personal responsibility, speaking your truth and making an impact, because that way you can have charge of your life. You can follow your genuine expression, which is speaking your truth, and you can make an impact. So it's not just about you. It's like making a difference into people who are willing to listen to your message. So that's why I'm so passionate about helping people become an online coach and consultant, a rebel with a cause, with a message, because I feel that empowers yourself. You can use your outrage and resentment, but you channel it in a way that you build people up, else it consumes you and it depletes you. So I find a middle way between standing up for freedom of speech, calling out the nonsense that is going out, the batshit crazy nonsense that is going out, and a slave mentality, while connecting with the right people, building them up so they can set up their own community, their own network, and make sure that they can survive on the mental, financial level to keep their cup full, because else you're going to be burned out, screaming to the wind, and you look like a crazy, tired, exhausted person. And even if you have a lot of wisdom, the place where you come from, it will not convince a lot of people. So always make sure that you can give enough to yourself and use your frustration in maybe in a more constructive way.
And you have influence. Don't you think that sometimes people think, I'm only that person. I'm only that person who's at this end of the world. I can't make it. So that's a myth. That's actually a myth. You have now social media. Whatever you think about social media, there are always different sides to it. You can use it for your advantage. If you're an ethical person, make sure you surround yourself with other ethical people, other people who keep you also grounded, and not that your ego blows completely up, because that's another thing, isn't it? When people get super big, sometimes the ego gets hold of them, and that's it, and off they go. And that's important. That's important why we have people like you too, right? Not you two as a band, you as as Phil, as a coach. And that's important. You don't have to invent the wheel from scratch either. So we need to learn from ourselves, from other people.
The biggest way how people give their power away is thinking that they don't have any.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's the same thing. Like, no, nobody is doing something, so it is not worth doing it. Yeah, that's the same reason why nobody is doing something, because everybody's thinking like you, bystander effect, but nobody is doing something. A leader goes first. You have to go first before you get the proof, before you get the permission. You don't need the permission slip to be a leader. You have to self-lead yourself. Stop asking for the world to give you a permission slip to show up.
You have to lead. I always say, lots of us behave like we are a tourist in life. It's like, look at this. Oh, look, this is your life. Look at this. You should get married and you have children, and then you have grandchildren, and then you maybe have a career, maybe. Or you earn lots of money, you have a house, whatever, and then you die. Is that what you want? Because that's what usually people, I know that lots of psychologists or something might argue about that. But
Maslow talked about it, the hierarchy of needs, and in the end, people want to make a difference, whatever kind of thing that is. I mean, they don't even have to be an entrepreneur. You have a difference between, I think Elizabeth Gilbert talked about it, the difference between a job, a career, a vocation, etc. And a job can pay the bills, but if you have a satisfying thing outside of your job or your family, or your kids, that's perfectly fine. If you have a vocation that is just like your dedication to something without being paid, that's fine. A career, gathering the skills to get better, that's also fine. But for me, it's about not living, but feeling alive. It's about fulfillment. It's about meaning, satisfaction. And that comes with some strife, some struggle, and standing for something. If you don't stand for anything, you will fall for everything. That's why people have such an existential vacuum in themselves, because they're not aware of themselves, their value, what they stand for. So they just fill it up with superficial relationships, consuming, numbing themselves to avoid that inner vacuum that they have. And everybody has that sometimes, but if you can still contribute to the world, make a difference in any way that you can, for me, it's personal responsibility, speaking your truth, making an impact. I mean, then you leave a little footprint into the universe. And for me, it's about that. And even if I die now, at least I did this. And it's like, I'm still a bit proud about what I did and what I stood for. Instead of like, I was so proud lying with my caipirinha on the beach, and sipping something, even cool comfort-wise, but it won't be the highlight of my life. Maybe that deep conversation with someone, unexpected, that's like, oh, that was like amazing. That was the highlight. Oftentimes the highlights are the unexpected things, or creating adventure, that's the meaningful things, not the comfortable things, where the things at the biggest TV ever, or I played the longest ever video game. I mean, it's fun to pass time, but I think it won't become timeless,
It's making an impact. For me, that was always important, that too. And I think it's important more than ever for a lot of people, because, we are evolved from like, just sit down, do what you've been told, like factory workers, don't even think about it. Just you do it. You don't, like, you drive a car, something, you drive at your location, you don't even know how you got there. And now we want to be fulfilled. And I think that's brilliant. I think that we have that calling of, we want to actually do something meaningful. So we are not becoming a machine. We become actually now a human being, mindfully understanding we are limited time. Time is precious. Every single day you sit there, and I worked with people before. Hey, I was one of them. Moan, 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 moan. Why are they not changing? Why are they not doing that? Why are they not? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Until I said, okay, that's like, at one point, it's enough. You do this. I had enough. I had in 2016 enough, and I thought, sorted, I go self-employed. And everybody was like, what is Jenny doing? That is like, are you sure? Are you crazy? Do you have a mental breakdown, Jenny? Do we need to be concerned? I said,
and let's be real. I'm not saying quit your job, use your savings and go for it at once, but I'm saying like build up your skill gradually, see it as a process, transition towards being an entrepreneur with the right guidance. And when you have enough income coming in to survive, or you have enough savings, then make the jumps. I'm all for calculated jumps and growing, putting in the work, showing up consistently. It's doable. I'm not saying like, here are Phyllis 5 tips to scale to 20K months with this easy little software. I mean, that's just good marketing, but horrible life advice to people, but it's definitely possible. But it's not easy, but it's doable, and it's a process, and it's a journey,
So you would actually also help people to do side hustle and make the side hustle into something permanent. Either, could be stay a side hustle, or maybe become something not only temporarily, permanent, and full-time.
Well, what I do personally is, I show online coaches how to consistently enroll clients. So I help them with their organic marketing, how to attract their clients, produce the content, structure their offer, because I'm an advocate of having a 3K to 10K. It's called high ticket, but I frame it as high value, because a high value offer comes at a higher price because people buy the transformation, not just the product. And when you're going to give the personal support, the accountability, the whole transformation, people are willing to pay a higher price to have that whole journey, make it stickable, make it something permanent that people go to group program or one-on-one, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And that way, when you have a sales conversation with people, then the average sale conversation can be like 3K or 4K. And if you want to get to 10K months, what you need then is like 3 clients, 4 clients a month. And then it's doable. And then you don't have to exhaust yourself with posting 5 times a day, working 16 hours a day. For me, I have my 5C conversion system. And the 5Cs are, you have quality connections. You have content that resonates with those connections. You have conversations based on their interest in the content in a genuine way to dig deeper. If you could help them with your offer, if you have a life transformational offer, then it's a benefit to have your person invest, make a better decision for themselves, because that would get them at a better place. But you don't pitch or sell. You have conversations with them, which is the 3rd C, to see if you can help them. And then you go deeper, and then you end with, would you like some help with that? Yeah, sure. And then you invite them on a call, you explore if you could help them, and then the last C, close, give the final yes when it's a match, and then you get them enrolled. So that's perfectly doable to do it when you have the right connections, right content, caring conversations, and then a call, and then you explore, and then with the right people, they're going to say yes. All with 3 C's, curiosity, care, and confidence.
Yeah. And you are actually somebody who gives a flying flamingo, isn't it? You do.
I love flamingos. You will see images with flamingos sometimes. Yeah.
So this is actually, Phil is somebody who gives a flying flamingo. You are ethical. It's not like you are not promoting what you are not doing yourself. So that's hi, Rebecca, by the way. Becky, have a look. It's when you do the job.
Yeah. Making an impact, right?
Yeah,
like making a difference, getting the feedback that what you do matters, right?
Here, Rebecca, you need to listen. I know that this is interesting for you too. So we will, I know all my followers. I know them. So it's like really, really important that we talk about that. It's because, don't you think there's a lot of unethical stuff out there?
Yeah, they think the sale ends with the service ends with the sale, or then they don't serve anymore, or they just act like, oh, I will teach you storytelling and then everything will be taken care of, or I will teach you, you will learn your niche and then everything is taken care of. I got sales mentors myself for marketing, etc., so I know everything about finding your niche, your branding, your content, creating a life-changing high-ticket offer, and then how to do the sales call. So I have the whole spectrum, so they can fill in the gaps, stack the dominoes, making sure that the big dominoes are stacked. So in the end, it aligns perfectly and in an ethical way. Because there's a lot of people who are great at marketing, bad at serving people, or the people who sell one thing, just become good at this little thing in Instagram, and people will book calls automatically, and fill your inbox. And then those people invested in a high ticket offer, and then they feel a bit burned out because they're really good at one thing, really good at Facebook Lives, but still the whole process from like contact to becoming client, that is not there. So that's a bit of a pity. And the problem is that a lot of people with integrity like me, they kind of have this imposter syndrome, or afraid of showing up, or they don't want to be in front of the camera because they want to really be there when they feel ready. And then those other people who are like very good and flash in front of the camera, they just attract a lot of people and they get all the clients, which gives a lot of coaches actually like a bad rep. And that's a bit frustrating, but that's why I want to help people speak their truth. Social media is as much about you. See, branding is about 3 things: the what of your brand, the why you of your brand, and the how of your brand. Those first 2 are the most important ones. The what of your brand, which is I do this, people, oh, interesting, let me follow her. And the why you is you, your views, your transformation, your story. So they don't want someone who's like perfect. They want someone who they can see, who is this person, what is her or his view of the world. And then they follow you. So people invest in me as much about my views, my stance, my podcast, my freedom of speech, as the offer that I offer. So it can be a bit strange to become in front of the camera, but you build up that practice. The good thing is that people have the attention span of a fruit fly nowadays. The attention span of a fruit fly. So if you suck right now, nobody will give a crap about what you made a year ago, won't even remember it. You know, you have to stay inside of people. So, and those people who still follow you, they're your hardcore fans because they saw you in the beginning and follow you now, and they see your progress. So they will be supporting for you. So you sometimes are your own worst critic because you see 100% of your own content. But most people only see like 1 out of 10 of your content. And if you don't show up again, like, you know, they really have the attention span of a fruit fly.
It's true. That's true. I mean, that when I started first on video, I was like, oh my gosh, honestly, nobody's there, like tumbleweeds, isn't it? And it's like people think it's like spotlight. We think sometimes, and that's social anxiety, by the way. We think we enter a room and everybody's looking at us. Who the heck do you think you are that everybody's looking at you, first of all? So nobody. So I left my videos on there from like when I first started. You can see the development because it's great. I'm proud of myself.
Well, that's Gary Vee. Well, Gary Vee, you work for Gary Vee. It says also like capture your body of work, capture your progress, because you will be able to use it in videos. Like I was here, now I'm here, and that will show your progress. So people love transformational stories. I haven't captured enough. Like if you have these really very depressed pictures when you were addicted to alcohol and you're going to be a sobriety coach, you're going to be so happy that you have so many pictures to show from the past, like from how far you came. You know?
Absolutely, because we can now, isn't it? We can now. In this day and age, hey, you can have lots of pictures of situations you're not proud of, right? I mean,
people are not looking for perfection. They are looking at, you know, like humanness. Like you just need to be a bit ahead of your ideal client. Your ideal client is like you, but 3 years younger or with 3 years less experience. So the more you evolve, the better clients you will have. But they're not looking for a perfect person. Like if you have issues with relationships or communication sometimes, and you share your story, but you're just ahead, but you're also human. Nobody will say like, what is this Jennifer person? She still struggles with some communication in relationships. Fuck this expert. Like it's so easy to manage. Like sales is also not a mindset or energetic or emotional thing. Like I don't witness anxiety sometimes or feel the lack of self-worth when someone declines my offer and I think it's about me. But I know how to deal with it. But I'm like human with it, you know. I'm not like,
of course, not a machine.
Actually, it's a good thing because then you can still keep on working on your principles and live it, which makes it lived experience instead of like preaching from a rock about how everything should be, you know.
You should still have a heart and not a swinging brick, isn't it? Where your heart is. You still have a heart. And your brand is actually the extension of who you are. So you better get your tush into gear. Don't pretend that you are, you know, we all know it. Some people pretend, I'm this and this, I have never a problem and this is fantastic. And then years later, you find out that this is all fake. It's really your brand as a reflection of, as an extension of who you are.
Yeah, so, and set boundaries on the other hand, like with your stories, you can show yourself, but set boundaries about what you offer, because nobody buys someone who offers everything to everyone, because then you just sink into the sea of oblivion by not standing out. So you have to pick your banner of what you want to stand for. What is a cause? What is a problem? What is something I want to solve? Because if you're going to be that femininity, leadership, productivity, law of attraction, abundance, money, sales, mindset coach, and you post about all those things, like you won't stand out. So that's the thing with boundaries, to set around what is your banner, what is your mission, and then also make sure that, yes, social media reflects your personality, but in the end, it's also a heightened sense of what you stand for and what you want people to be attracted to.
And don't be, and it's, of course, imperfect action is better than no action, right?
Yeah. Don't start when you're ready. Just start and then you'll get ready.
Yeah. So if people want to book you, or if people want to engage with you, do I have to have previous experience? Can I be a newbie and say, hey, Phil, I love what you are doing. I totally trust. I feel totally secure with you. But I have no idea where to start. So a brand new entrepreneur or somebody who wants to go on this journey and taste it, would you take them on?
I have two things. I have my Client Closer Academy, which is my year-long group program right now. And I have the one-on-one accelerator, which is also when they can have the hands-on personal coaching with me one-on-one. those people, I will see if they're a fit always have a talk with them, because for me, that's my tribe, that's my community that I create. So I would either show them the dominoes in my Client Closer Academy, which has all the big dominoes lined up from all the essential things to figure out. But it starts with, and there's already 2 full courses about that completed in my Client Closer Academy vault. It's about, you need to nail your niche and ideal client, and you need to establish a persuasive brand, which is figuring out, your what, the why, the how of your brand, what you're going to talk about, and then your niche, who are you going to talk to, what are the problems, what you're trying to solve. Of those 2, the branding is the most important, because that's under your control. That is your positioning, your message. And oftentimes in the beginning, like, who you want to work with, what's the problems, that's more the worldview of your ideal client. That is also often like a work in progress. So for people who want to start, the Client Closer Academy might be something for them, and I can drop the link down below, where it's like my name /academy or clientcloser.com/academy. They can see like an overview, and if they like it, they can book a call with me, and we will figure out if it's something that they need. Or I can get them started with just a course about the niche and the branding, because that's the foundation. Knowing the worldview of your ideal client, talking to that island of being stuck, I called it. And then branding about your island of full potential, your transformation, where you are, your ideal client look up towards that. So when you know how to speak to where they are, and you can also show where they could be, and you use that in your content, your offer, pre-qualification, then you can have a lot of things to work with. But if you don't know the island of being stuck and the island of full potential, show the true you and set boundaries about what you're going to present, and then speak to your ideal client, you will have a shaky foundation, because then you will be building things just on, whatever. So I have a method which is clarify, simplify, implement. Clarify, CSI method, clarify, simplify, implement. In the beginning, you should just implement. Try something out for long enough, because some people don't try things long enough to see if it works, or some people keep on trying something because they decided and never give up. Choose a direction, get feedback. So first, if you're beginning, work on that implement of CSI, clarify, simplify, implement, and then things will become clear, and then you can like simplify. So that's a bit what I do. But the niche and branding are important to get to that worldview of the ideal client. Who you're going to serve, what's the problem, what the frustration, what keeps them awake at night, and then what's your mission, what you stand for, why are you different, what you're willing to talk about in your personality. And that's like a really good place to start from. But I structure my academy that we got all the dominoes lined up, whether you're just starting out, whether you want to optimize, whether you want to get to the next level. So that's my group thing. And then I also have, if people want the one-on-one hands-on coaching, my accelerator, and that's working with me one-on-one. But I always have a call with them to discover if it's something that they need, or they can type my name and follow me on YouTube, my Rants About Humanity podcast, or join my Client Closer Secrets group.
Absolutely.
And you kind of see my personality, how I am. So yeah, maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it, but you kind of know what you will be getting. So
hey, and it's Strong Heart Awakening approved, by the way. So you got the Strong Heart Awakening approval on top of it too.
Yeah.
Amanda says, Jenny, she needed a hero, so that's what she became. I know, Amanda, I know. Clarify, simplify, implement. You got it.
Yeah, clarify. This is super important with everything that you do. Clarify, simplify, implement. And oftentimes it's not an implementation problem, it's a clarity problem. So then you just want to get away, get your pen out, reflect, ask deeper questions to yourself, and clarify. Because if you're all over the place, you're going to be overwhelmed. And when you don't simplify, you spread yourself too wide, you don't get feedback. It's like, this is not working. Clarify, simplify, implement, and keep on reflecting and repeating that process and adapt along the way, and it will get like clear. It's almost with everything that I do.
I know. You're great in that. I'm always the first. You're great in that. You are. It's like, oh, yes, great. Because, and my followers know, I'm like, there's a unicorn. That's a brilliant idea. Follow that. And next day, there's a brilliant idea. This is like,
now more about, okay, now we have the unicorn. How are we going to catch the unicorn? Okay, we have to create this. Here's a map to find the unicorns. Let's zoom in. This is the best way to trap the unicorn.
Yes. That's how we do it.
That's for me,
That's how we do it. So if you're up for unicorns, you want to create your own unicorn, Phil is the way to go. Here's the way to go. Here, one more thing. And I mean, we are like 1 hour, 4 minutes on. I can talk with you forever. So I could just hijack and talk with Phil forever. This is like, that's who I am, right? I can just forget time. So if there's somebody on the fence and I say, I really like that, but I'm shit scared. I don't know where to start. What would you say to them actually in regards to, again, why entrepreneurship, why we should give it a go? Why?
Because there's nothing better than just following a path that's determined on your terms and that's more aligned with your natural talent. So even before entrepreneurship, ask yourself, you see, a question that I sometimes ask is like, what would make your younger self proud? Because if you do something that makes your younger self proud, you make your younger self proud, you make your current self proud, and you make your future self proud. Because you feel, I'm giving the world something that I wished I had in the past. And there is some kind of talent that you have or skill that you have. You don't have to be much ahead. Yeah, but Tony Robbins is doing it. You don't even compare yourself to Tony Robbins. It's the most expensive coach out there. He also started where he was, working with what he had, and you're going to work your way up. So you don't have to be the super expert with the super credentials. You just got to ask yourself, what do I wish my younger self had, and how can I give it to people in a faster, easier, and cheaper way than I had to learn by myself?
I love that. Because everybody started on one point. It's like step by step, isn't it? Don't think you have to be now the high-flying super Tony Robbins, whatever.
Yeah, and it's also an emotional, mental journey. So learning how to cope with things, with failure, self-talk, etc. It also gives you the skill to cope with life and cope with the good things and the bad things. So entrepreneurship is also a mental journey, an emotional journey, a psychological journey that you take responsibility for it. So it's also the first step to do it. So, but I'm not going to tell it easy. I'm not going to say it's simple. I'm not going to tell it's a shortcut and a quick win. It's not for everyone. But if you planned that idea of doing it once, I think it's very rewarding to live a life on our own terms.
Absolutely. And it's probably the best self-development journey ever. If you are a junkie, a personal development junkie, and you are going from one book to another, how to do it, and book one course and then another course, why not doing something and say, okay, enter the ultimate journey? I mean, life in itself is the ultimate journey, but why not actually trying it? Give it a go. What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst thing? That really
knowing that it wasn't for you, which is a fantastic gift, because at least you tried it. You won't live a life of what if only, what if I.
That's worse. That's so bad. And I've seen that in my family. Oh gosh, honestly. And it's like they passed away and then that's done. And it's like, even if you live a year or 2 years or 10 years of your life doing what you want, it's better to not do it. Does that make sense?
Thanks, Amanda. Yeah.
Thanks. So we drop the links after I hop off, because I know how Facebook works, right? When we hop off and drop the links, it's always better. And yeah, anything you want to share before we hop off? And I'm like, would love to have you on again at one point.
People can give feedback about whatever we talked about. I'm all about seeing different perspective, helping people think for themselves, finding their gift and speaking out. So yeah, if you're a rebel with a cause, a thought leader, change makers who want to help people think freely, think differently, yeah, consider following me. They're already following you. Or if you want to be part of my army of rebels with a cause, check out my stuff. And if the Client Closer Academy sounds interesting, go to clientcloser.com/academy or check out my stuff. This week is my launch until next week. Then the price goes up with 1K because I keep on adding material to it. And we'll figure out if it makes sense. Get on a call and I'll explain you everything. And even if it's not a fit, you connect with a freedom-loving soul who cares deeply about meaningful conversations. So that's always time well spent. So
absolutely. Phil, Mr. Van Houte, thank you so much for turning up and being just such a delight on my Strong Heart Awakening community. I thank you so much. And yeah, Strong Hearts, that's what was it. I can't believe it's Thursday. Friday, my group. I will be tomorrow in my group a little bit earlier. Please follow Phil. We will drop all the links down below as soon as I hop off. Plus, share this broadcast up. I thank you so much. Have the most amazing day. Phil, thank you so much. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
If you like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and support our mission of freedom of speech. With increasing restrictions on fundamental freedoms, we believe that now, more than ever, is the time for you to be an online coach or consultant and become independent from the system. That's why we created the Client Closer Academy. Learn how to consistently enroll clients and join a community of fellow free thinkers who value personal responsibility, speaking their truth, and making an impact. Find out more at clientcloser.com/academy. Rant over.